Hi guys, so this is a video to talk about value and adding value with color specifically. So for your next sketchbook assignment, you're going to be required to use full value, which is lights and darks, but with color. And so if you missed this value lesson, go back and watch the other video. But to add value with color is a different thing. Now you have value scales in your sketchbook where you just used pencils, just doing really dark pencil and then slowly making it lighter. We're going to do the same sort of thing just with colored pencils today. And to start, I want to point out that what I've done here, okay, is just experiment a little bit. So I have orange, really dark orange, actually even mixed with a little bit of black and brown in here, okay, and then slowly just pressing lighter on the pencil gives me an effect like this. And here it was even really hard to see that one, but we have a whole range of values. Now I could have done a little better in here. The step between this and this is pretty noticeable. It's not a gradual change between there, but I was just experimenting. And here's what I've done in this space. I have mixed orange with some yellow. I mixed orange with gold, and that also gives me two different shades of orange, two different values. And then down here I tried it with pink, and on this side what I actually did is I started with black and I colored black, then I made my value change very gradual with the black shading slowly into the white paper, and then I went over top of it and I added the pink. So I've got really dark pink here. I layered over top of the black, and it kind of gets a mid-tone of the pink, and then just pure pink, and then pure pink getting lighter and lighter and lighter. So to do these things and create value with colored pencils, basically what I'm going to suggest you do today is just control the amount of pressure you put on your colored pencils, but also going back and blending with other colors as well to help you get darker shades and then lighter shades. So let's go in the same fashion as this. I have a different setup here with a circle and a triangle. This will become a sphere and a cone. And just hoping that works for you to see it there. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to work with orange just because I am. Actually, the main reason I'm going to work with orange is because I'm going to take these skills, these things that I'm practicing here, and I'm going to apply them to my drawing. And this is the drawing that I've created for my color assignment, which is to take an object and cut it in half and then draw it either real or imaginary. And I've started with a Crayola crayon, and then I cut it in half, and what I have is something oozing out of the inside here. I haven't decided what color I'm going to make this ooze and this goo, but the crayon itself is yellow-orange, so I'm going to be applying orange to my final drawing, so that's the color I'm going to practice with. Now you can practice with whatever color you'd like, but here's what we have for a sphere. We need to start with a light source, and so if you recall, light source will tell you what area is light, and then the area furthest away from your light source will be the darkest area. I realize now it's a little hard for you to see my circle, so I'm just going to go over top of it again so that you can see the edges of it. My circle's not perfect. It's something round, but it's not perfect. If you wanted to, you could trace a mug or a water bottle or something to give you a nice shape that's a little bit more round, a little more perfect, if that's going to bother you. But here's what I'm going to do to start. To start, I'm just going to gently, without a lot of pressure, I'm just going to lay the same color of orange kind of everywhere. And then I can go back and I can adjust that orange color and make it darker in certain areas and lighter in other areas. So as I color this, I'm going to try to use rounded and curved strokes because that's going to help my sphere look more round in the end. Okay. If I just colored it with flat lines and straight lines, it would not appear as round later on. So just a real gentle layer in here, get the color kind of everywhere, trying not to push too hard, but trying to lay the same color throughout. Okay, now I have a base orange on there. Now what I need to do is I need to take this area of the sphere and I need to make it the lightest area. Then that color is going to slowly shift more into a pure orange, and then going to shift again into a really dark orange. Okay. So I'm going to add a little more color into the center of my sphere because as I see it from a distance and I step back from it, it just seemed a little too light in there compared to the rest. So I'm evening my color out, my value. Okay. Now the thing about value is that, like I had said here, you can either create it by pushing harder on the paper or by layering. Now I can do a little bit of both of that. Over in this area where it's going to be darker, I can just press a little bit harder with my orange, and I get a shade that's a little bit darker than what I had started with. Just a little more pressure, and my lines are rounded. If you can't see because I'm moving too quickly, just want to step back for a moment and show you that I'm pressing a little harder on the paper, but I'm also still using curved and rounded lines as I go. Okay, so, oops, shucks, bummer, that's okay. I'm just practicing here. That's why I'm practicing, so that I can get better at this before I'm applying it to my final drawing, and when I do my final drawing I'll be a little more careful as well. Okay, so you can see already how it's becoming darker on this side than it is over here, and all I've done is layered the same color another time, and I've pressed harder in this area. Now I can do it again, press even harder, or go over it even a third time back here, and my values change again. So this is the sort of thing that I'm talking about, where in your packet for your sketchbook assignment it says full value is required with colored pencil. Full value. Just doing colored pencil for this one. So you have to be able to control your colored pencil and understand how to make that work for you. So there's that. Now, what else I could do to blend different colors is if I took a color like a black or a brown, I could make it darker. I'm going to go with brown because as oranges get darker and darker, they have more of a brown tone to them than black. Black is really stark, and I could do that, but I'm going to use brown. And in here I'm just going to gently lay a little bit of brown on top of the orange. Again, with a rounded and curved line. And I'm doing it along this edge because, remember, it is furthest from my light source. There's my sun, and my sun hits here, and on the far side, that's where things are going to be darkest and more shadowed. So, darker back here. And there's really just a little bit of brown in this space. Now I'm using my brown to slowly and very gently kind of blend it out. I'm not putting very much brown in this area, but my strokes are going out that way. And if you recall from our very first experience with value when we did our value scales, remember, the further apart your lines are, the lighter your value appears. So if I am spacing out my brown pencil strokes here, then I'm having less and less brown in this area. The brown is more concentrated back here on top of the dark orange, but it still is here, just not as heavily. And then I'm not going to put brown in this area at all because I don't want these areas to appear dark. I want them to appear light. So in order to help them appear light, I'm going to use yet another shade or another value, different color even. I can layer a light version of something that would be orange, right? And lighter from orange things go yellow. So you don't have to do this, but it just adds another element and another layer to your colored pencil drawing. Just gives it an extra bit of oomph and something just a little more fancy. So you can blend with colored pencils. You can change colors and make them more complex, same as you can with paints. It takes a little more effort and just a little more knowledge, but if you take the skills that you've practiced and you learned when you were creating value, and you apply those skills toward colored pencils as well, not just regular pencils, not just your drawing set that I gave you, then you can create something with more value and depth. So it appears a little bit lighter in this area, brighter even, as the sun or the light source hits it. And it's a little regular orange in the middle, and then dark orange on the backside. Now again, you do not have to mix colors in order to create value with colored pencils, but it's an option. You can, again, reminder, create value with colored pencil just by how hard you press on the paper. So very, very dark pressure, very, very hard pressure, slowly getting lighter and lighter gives me different values as well. So that's the basics. I'm going to do this one quickly if you want to watch. You don't have to though.